When analyzing a social problem, it is crucial to take into account all the identities affected by it. Oftentimes, the mainstream media misrepresents feminist issues as only having to do with one identity. As a result, many identities get left out because we can't fix problems that we can't see. Mainstream feminism forgets that people exist as a conglomeration of multiple, intersecting identities. A Black woman isn't just Black. She may be Catholic, Muslim, queer, upper class, disabled, transgender, and/or any other identity. To just speak of movements like feminism in terms of all women fails to recognize the specific circumstances surrounding the different identities that make up and break down the category of women.
So, what do you call being impacted by multiple forces and then abandoned to fend for yourself? Intersectionality seemed to do it for me.
Intersectionality recognizes that people exist as intersections of a multitude of different identities and brings all those identities together when analyzing social problems. Let's look at one very mainstream feminist issue that needs to be reframed: the wage gap.
I have heard of the wage gap.
I think so.
I have heard of the wage gap.
Have heard of the wage gap.
I mean, I've heard about it, but
Women aren't paid as much as men for doing the same thing, and
Women who have equivalent positions as men in the workforce get paid less for doing the same job.
The wage gap is just an inequality in the workplace where basically men get paid more than women.
The wage gap is where men on average for the same job make about 25% more than women.
I think it's when women are paid much less than men in the workplace, and I think it's ridiculous.
A difference in pay between men and women for the same job.
In my understanding, it's the discrepancies between both gender and race that go into how people are paid both salary and hourly.
I'm pretty sure it's 76 cents for every man's dollar.
I mean, I don't really know that much about it.
I think it is when people of minority status are paid differently than other people.
And basically it boils down to men get paid on average more than women do.
With a couple of exceptions, the consensus is the same. The wage gap exists between women and men, with men consistently making more money. In reality, this is not always the case. If we take an intersectional approach to the wage gap and break it down by both gender and race, we see that white women earn 82% as much as white men, Asian women 87%, Black women 65%, Hispanic women 58%, Asian men 117%, Black men 73%, and Hispanic men 69%.
Well, I think it's kind of unfair, but it's not surprising. Just based on how society is.
it's obviously like more facts that I wasn't aware of, which is concerning numbers.
I didn't know those specific numbers.
Wow, I definitely didn't think it applied to race. I definitely only heard of it in the context of gender.
I never really thought of it like that. But now that I think about it, it's really not that surprising.
I don't think that should change why there would even be a wage gap in the first place. I think that no matter like who you are, you should be paid the same if your experience level is the same.
Just being like a woman, that's always how I thought about it. It's just like woman versus man, but I guess hearing those statistics, I have thought about it in that way, but that's not what initially comes to my mind when I hear the term wage gap.
I think that all aligns with what I would have expected.
That Hispanic women are paid a lot less is also very surprising.
I honestly didn't know that. I knew that there was inequality within like races getting hired and how they progress and kind of climb the hierarchy, but I didn't know that the statistics were that significant.
It definitely expands my viewpoint of it, and that just makes it seem even more unequal.
I think these numbers just show that there's a lot of work left to do to reach equality, and I feel like economic equality is one of the first steps to reaching full equality.
Unfortunately, it's it's really messed up, but like just with how our society has been set up, I like kind of see it now.
It just echoes the issues that are like systemic issues in our sort of economic system or financial system that benefits people who are white over people of color.
I think that to make any progress, you yourself have to understand the privileges that you were given upon being born into this world.
Without frames that allow us to see how social problems impact all the members of a targeted group, many will fall through the cracks of our movements, left to suffer in virtual isolation. But it doesn't have to be this way.